Kyle Steinebach of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. I'm not going to do the full Mo Green here. I'm not going to do the full do you know who I am. But my name is Chris Chichester. I live at 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield. And I have been in contact with you more than once. So I would hope that you know my name and my situation and my case. And I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't. Now, you are the deputy chief of the local courts. So, if you are the deputy chief of the local courts, one of the courts is Penfield Town Court. And as you undoubtedly know, John Lomenzo and James Mully are on Penfield Town Court. So, I'm going to explain my situation with John Lomenzo and James Mully as soon as I remove my wonderful little guy from in front of me because I have my paperwork here. Oh, you gotta go sit over there, buddy, okay? Go sit over there, be a good boy, be a good boy. Sorry about that. He likes to sniff around, and I'm going to talk about him in a second. So go sit over there, buddy, okay? Be a good boy. All right. Where was I? Sorry about that. I have a big Hollywood production here, and I'm right in the middle of it, so I'm going to continue. Pardon me. So you, Kyle, are the deputy bureau chief of the local courts. Now, John Lomenzo and James Mully are on Penfield Town Court. And I'm going to tell you just briefly what happened, even though I've told you previously, and I'm going to get to an email that you and I exchanged. Because I think you have a hard time understanding the English language. Matter of fact, I know you have a hard time understanding the English language. This is my little guy here. And matter of fact, I'm going to tell you about my wonderful little guy here. I adopted from Lollipop Farm because my wonderful little guy is a participant in how you are the deputy bureau chief of the local courts. So anyway, I used to go to PW Fitness in Penfield. And I'm at the back of the gym. I'm on the bench press. I do 3 sets of 10. On the third set of 10, Jermaine Benman walks up to me. He motions like this with his hand. He wants me to go off the bench press. I'm not going to go off the bench press because I'm already on the machine. I'm doing 3 sets of 10. Benman doesn't want to wait. He stands over me, punches down. My head snaps back. This is violent assault. And a witness calls the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. So I go outside with Benman when Deputy Andrew Reale arrives. And Reale puts me in his vehicle. And I'm thinking, why am I in the vehicle? And Reale goes around to talk to Benman. And he's talking to Benman outside in front of me. And I'm watching Reale talk to Benman. And that's because he's coaching Benman what to say to me. He's coaching Benman what to say. So Reale marches Benman around to the side of the vehicle. And Benman says to me, I want to press charges against you. And that is how I am charged with harassment second. This is a vile, disgusting, despicable concoction by Andrew Reale. So, I'm charged with harassment second. And to this day, when I look at that ticket, I have to control the sense of injustice that consumes me. I've never harassed anyone in my life. And every single one of my family members and friends, everybody that's ever known me, will confirm that fact. Because it's not who I am. I'm not a violent person either. I've never committed a violent act. Even when this violent thug, Jermaine Bedman, attacks me at the gym. Because I was going to respond to him. But that would have made me just as violent as him. And I don't believe in violence. So, that's how I'm charged with harassment second. When Andrew Reale marches Jermaine Benman around to the side of the vehicle. Now, I live at 26 Sanders Farm Drive here in Penfield. And I've lived here for 9 years. And for the first 7 years, everything is fine. I used to live here with my beautiful, perfect girlfriend, Laura, and I live alone now. But when I lived with beautiful, perfect Laura, There was no grass cutting along the side of my house. And then when Nairaj and Layla Kumar Shah moved into 2041 Penfield Road, now is where my dentist, Dr. Gloria Nichols, used to be. Suddenly have grass cutting all the time, and they would show up at 7 a.m. on a Sunday or 8 o'clock at night during the summer on a weekday. It's ridiculous. And they would enter the property, and they would go along this strip of land next to my house to get to the property behind my house. And Shah don't own the strip of land next to my house or the strip of land behind my house because the Office of Monroe County Real Property can't confirm that they own it, and Shah don't have the documents. So if you believe in the Fifth Amendment right to property, which I'm sure you do, as you're in the district attorney's office and you're running for Monroe County Court judge now. So obviously, if you don't have documentation for land, you should be on that land, especially if you're showing up at 7 a.m. on a Sunday or at ridiculous times during the week to cut that land that no one owns. So after this Benman situation, here they come alongside my house with this grass cutting. And I go outside. And I'm outside for 30 seconds. I'm standing on Sanders Farm Drive where I live. I'm on the street. And I tell this grass cutter, who has no front teeth and a beard, I mean, he looks like ZZ Top would 100 years from now. So I say to him, Shah don't own that land. I go back into my house. What I don't know is that Sheriff Todd Baxter affixed a camera to 2025 Penfield Road, and that camera's pointing right out where I'm standing. I know. You must be paranoid schizophrenic, Chris. So what's with the surveillance state? It's not my camera. And Elliot Roth is this consumer insights business, and everybody would walk into that business saw that camera. So it's Baxter's camera. It's his surveillance camera. It's his surveillance device. It's his surveillance state. I didn't buy it and I didn't fix it. So when I say surveillance state, that's Todd Baxter. That's his camera. And I'm going to tell you more about that camera. So here they come from, it's called Broccoli Tree in Lawn Care, alongside my house. And I go out there again. And I'm looking at this toothless grass cutting loser. And I say, you cut land that Nairaj and Layla Kumar Shah don't own. So I'm looking at this grass cutting loser, and he stops on his tractor. And he looks at a man on his phone. The man on his phone, his name is Steve Desmond. And Steve Desmond is calling the Monroe County Sheriff's Office at Panorama Trail to come to my house because they know I'm coming out. They know I'm going to object to this. So after I tell this grass cutter that Shah don't own this land, I walk back into my house, I sit down on my couch, and I continue what I'm doing. And a half hour later, I see Deputy Fascist Stooge Patty Meyer run into my backyard, and she falls down on her face. So I'm looking right out here like this, the way I am now, and I'm looking at this Deputy Fascist Stooge that works for Todd Baxter, and I'm thinking, why is this woman laying in my backyard dirt wearing this Monroe County Sheriff's uniform? And I don't know why. And then I hear this pounding on my door. So I go to the door and I open it. And there are 6 of these fanatics at my house. 6! This is ridiculous and absurd. And when I open the door, I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the sergeant. And he says to me, we just want to talk to you outside. And that's a lie. The first language I ever hear from a Monroe County Sheriff's deputy is a lie. Directly to me. Now, I've heard these people talk when they're at the Wegmans Food Market's headquarters down here in Penfield Road, because there are always 2 vehicles alongside the Wegmans. But the first time I ever heard a Monroe County Sheriff's deputy talk directly to me, he lies to me. We just want to talk to you outside. So I walk outside. And as I'm walking across my grass, I walk right past my neighbor, Adam, right? And they start to surround me on my grass, walking around me like this. 6 of these people, 6 of these whack jobs. And they surround me, and then the sergeant, he takes my arms and puts them behind my back, and I'll go to handcuffs. And I'm astonished at this disgusting, vile descent on my life. All I did is go outside for 30 seconds and tell this toothless grass-cutting loser he doesn't own the land next to my house. That's all I did. So they got the handcuffs on me, still surrounded me, and I'm looking at my neighbor. And my neighbor's looking at me. And as he would tell me later, I've never seen anything like that. And I think that 99.9% of people that believe in justice and truth and fairness would agree with that. So they put me in the vehicle. I'm handcuffed inside the vehicle. And my wonderful little guy I adopted from Lollipop Farm Humane Society, he's still in the house. He's in the house by himself. So this is in the late afternoon. They take me to the jail. And I get to the jail. And I'm handcuffed, still behind my back. And they put me inside the jail cell by myself. And they handcuffed me inside the jail cell to a metal ring in the jail cell. And I can't reach the urinal. So I'm in there for about 3 hours, and I urinated on myself twice. And I didn't know how long I was going to be in there. And I kept thinking, as anybody would, what did I do wrong? What crime did I commit? All I did is go outside and say, shot on all that land, and walk back inside for 30 seconds. Well, the Monroe County Sheriff's employee comes to the door and he says to me, we're going to cut you a break and drive you home. So now I'm thinking, do I live in 1984? Is this George Orwell at the door here? Because they're going to cut me a break. They just descended on me and abridged my civil and constitutional rights with this disgusting arrest. I'm not guilty of any crime. And now the guy at the door, the Monroe County Sheriff's employee, is telling me he was going to cut me a break. So they opened the door, took the handcuffs off, and I went back in the vehicle, and they drove me home to my residence here, 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield. And this is early in the morning, 3, 4, 5 o'clock or thereabouts. And I walk in my house, and my wonderful little guy, he defecated and urinated inside the house because I was gone for so long and I couldn't take him out. So the charge for me is criminal contempt. That's what they charged me with. I'm not guilty of criminal contempt. I'm not guilty of any crime. So here we have Andrew Reale charges me with harassment second when I'm attacked at the gym. And here I'm now charged with criminal contempt just for walking outside and standing on Sanders Farm Drive. I haven't committed a crime, and I've been arrested twice. What do you think about that, Kyle? What would you think if what happened to me happened to a family member of yours? What would you think if what happened to me happened to one of your friends? What would you think if what happened to me happened to someone in your life that you really care about? Someone that you like or love or respect? What would you think about that? Because I had to call my mom and dad both times and tell them what happened. I had to call my 78-year-old mother and 84-year-old father and tell them about this. And my mother cried on the phone. She said, I know you didn't do anything wrong, Chris, which is exactly right. Anybody would say that once they hear this. So, my question, and I'm going to ask you this again, is that I had to go to Penfield Town Court. And I had to appear in front of your colleague. But since you are the deputy bureau chief of the local courts, you're the one that supervises your colleague. And you obviously have dealings with John Lomenzo. What do you think about him? Does the name Daniel DeLouse sound familiar? Because Daniel DeLouse was observed by witnesses handing out candy on Annatel Luster here in Penfield. That's on 5 Mile too. And I ride my bike down 5 Mile, go right past it. And the witnesses said that Daniel DeLouse was handing out candy to children, which he's trying to entice them into a vehicle, and he wants to rape these children. So Daniel DeLouse wants to rape children. And he's arrested for this. He's brought to John Lomenzo. And Lomenzo said that the documents that your office had were defective. And he releases Daniel DeLouse back into the community, back into Penfield. And then DeLouse is arrested again for doing the same exact thing after witnesses again saw him trying to entice children. He was doing something along those lines. I don't know the precise facts and circumstances. Since I don't know the precise facts and circumstances, I'm not going to describe that because I believe in accuracy. But he was essentially observed doing the same thing, trying to entice children with candy. So I have to appear before this John Lomenzo. And everything is the opposite with John Lomenzo. Justice is injustice. Truth is lies. Facts is fiction. That's the way this guy thinks. And he is 70 years old. What is this guy doing in Penfield Town Court? It's your local court. You're the deputy bureau chief. How do you tolerate a 70-year-old extremist in Penfield Town Court? So, I go to Penfield Town Court, and I'm appearing in front of John Lomenzo, and he doesn't even know what the charge is against me. I had to correct him in court. He didn't even know. That's how out of it this guy is. Well, I'm in Penfield Town Court. I'm standing in front of John Lomenzo, and I look over to my left. And that's where your colleague is, your female colleague is there. And this is my question for you. Because I believe in accuracy, and I have a name, but I'm not sure if I have the right name. My question, I'm going to ask this again, repeatedly. What is the name of the female prosecutor in Penfield Town Court in my case? Because your female prosecutor stood in Penfield Town Court and said nothing. And when I describe it as nothing, it is nothing. It is not one sound. It is not one syllable. It is not one word. She stood at the podium in Penfield Town Court in silence. How does a prosecutor stand in a court, any court in the United States of America, and not say a word, and then the defendant is just simply adjudicated guilty by the judge? Because that's what happened to me. So this proceeding lasted less than 5 minutes. I said I'm not guilty. I haven't committed any crime, or words there that were similar to that. So the proceeding ends, and I go in the back. And that's where Andrew Reale is, who knows how he charged me. He knows he marched Jermaine Benman around to the side of the vehicle. And I hope he knows about this other situation, too, with the grass cutting, when I'm outside for 30 seconds. 30 seconds here in Penfield with these extremists at Panorama Trail gets you charged with criminal contempt when you're an innocent man. So I go in the back, and Andrew Reale says to me, "We decided to arrest you before you arrived here today." So he knows how he charges me, by walking Jermaine Benman around to the side of the vehicle, Andrew Reale. He knows that I'm sitting inside the vehicle. And then he says to me in the back, "We decided to arrest you." So they put the handcuffs on me, and they take me to Monroe County Jail, and I'm at jail with the murderers, the rapists, the arsonists, and the gang members. Do I live in the United States of America, Kyle Steinebach? Is this justice, Kyle Steinebach? If you want to be on Monroe County Court, Kyle Steinebach, is this how you would comport yourself? If the facts and circumstances for the accused were exactly the same in your court? So, Kyle, what is the name of the prosecutor in my case? Now, I emailed you earlier in the year, or maybe late last year, and I asked you, what is the name of the prosecutor in my case? It's a simple question. And you emailed me back with words where you said, we can't discuss pending cases. And my case had already been adjudicated, and I had been home from jail. So all I'm doing is asking you in this email, what is the name of my prosecutor? And you can't even understand a simple question in an email. I'm looking at your response from me, and then I emailed you back, and I said to you, my case has already been adjudicated. What's her name? And I never heard back from you. All I wanted was a name. You can't even answer a simple question. You want to be on Monroe County Court? So, Kyle, I have told your boss, the district attorney, this, Sandra Dorley, multiple times. Be a registered mail, return receipt, Kyle. So she knows. She knows what exactly has happened to me. And you know what the response is, Kyle? from your boss, the district attorney in Monroe County, about an innocent man going to jail? You know what your boss says to me, Kyle? You know what the response is from your boss about this appalling star chamber in Penfield, New York? Nothing. Not a word from Sandra Dorley. Not a sound, not a syllable, not a peep, nothing from her. You know what time it is now, Kyle? It's time for your boss, Sandra Dorley, to go on television and talk about Craig and Laura Rideout. Now, the next time she wants to go on national television to talk about that case, this is what you should tell her since you want to be a judge. You should tell her that Craig Rideout is still dead and Laura Rideout is still in prison. And then on national television, this pathetic, disgusting obsession with murder should be ignored because I'm sick and tired of murder being on television at night. I mean, if you pick up your remote control right now, if you're watching this late at night, you're going to see shows about murder on 10 different channels. And I'm sick and tired of watching these degenerates get celebrated on national television. And there's your boss talking about Craig and Laura Rideout. Perhaps she should return to her office where she can supervise the assault on civil and constitutional rights of another innocent citizen like me. So, anyway. Kyle, so since you work with the Monroe County Sheriff's office, I have a question for you because I'm on the Facebook page of Todd K. Baxter, and I'm telling him exactly what I think about him, and I've told him what I've just told you repeatedly. But since you work with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, perhaps you're friends with some of these guys here, because I just want to show you this picture because I love this picture, Kyle. You see this? You see these Monroe County Sheriff's deputies there underwater in a pool? Do you see that picture? Oh, that's one of my favorites there. These are the guys that you're working with here. I wonder if Laura Rideout, or Laura Rideout, I should say, because Craig Rideout's dead. I wonder if Laura Rideout swam by one of these all-stars in the photograph. This is what they're doing in Monroe County. Instead of being on the job and on the streets and arresting violent criminals and adhering to, let's say, James Q. Wilson's broken windows theory of law, here they are spending taxpayer dollars to take a picture of themselves underwater in a pool. Total incompetence, Kyle, baby. So anyway, Kyle, as the Deputy Bureau Chief of the local courts, I'm going to give you my email. It's cchichester4@gmail.com. I'm going to spell that for you. cchichester4@gmail.com. So, Kyle, what is, as you are the Deputy Bureau Chief of the local courts, what is the name of my female prosecutor in the nauseating, disgusting star chamber of Penfield Town Court that stood at the podium in front of John Lomenzo and said nothing? So, that's what I want to know, Kyle. So, anyway. The other thing, too, Kyle, I'm going to be sending your boss, Sandra Dorley, a Freedom of Information Law document, and I already know what she's going to do with this Freedom of Information Law document, because she's going to make the same decision as Sheriff Baxter and John Lomenzo. And I'm going to tell you, I have sent now 18 times via email, and Michael Radler of the Sheriff's Office will confirm that because he's the Public Information Officer contact. 18 times since last December, I emailed to him a FOIL for the payroll for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and he ignored every one. And then after that, I started sending this to them, registered mail return receipt, where I'm demanding the payroll. And every single time since then, it's been at least 5 times where I sent a registered mail return receipt demanding the payroll for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Now, I have been a public employee, and I have handled a FOIL. And when you get a FOIL for payroll, you immediately disclose. But that doesn't happen with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office because this is a corrupt collection of fanatics. And you should know that by now. So, anyway. Monroe County Court. So, yes. So, I go to Penfield Town Court, which is in a library, and my girlfriend Laura used to work at that library, and I did not know, despite the fact I would go over to the library to see her, that at the end of the hallways, John Lomenzo and James Mullen. So I find out about Lomenzo and this Daniel DeLouse, this just repulsive human being trying to entice children with candy. And Lomenzo says that these documents were defective, and that's why he released DeLouse. So I want these defective documents. So I write a FOIL. I walk over to the library and I drop it off. And I'm at the library window, I should say, the window at the end of the hall for the library, to be accurate. I'm there for 30 seconds. I walked up to the window. I said, my name's Chris Chichester. I said, John Lomenzo said that he released Daniel DeLouse into the community in Penfield because the documents were defective. I gave him the FOIL. I want to see these defective documents. Why is he releasing Daniel DeLouse into the community in Penfield? Just because of the defective documents. And it also turns out that Lomenzo knows the father of DeLouse, and he's now recusing himself from the case. So that's all I did. I'm there for 30 seconds. I want these defective documents. Where are they? Here's the FOIL. I walk home. Well, Lomenzo picks up the phone and he calls the Monroe County Office of Mental Health for whatever perverted reason. And an hour later, I have a Monroe County Sheriff's Deputy here with Lindsay Barron of the Monroe County Office of Mental Health. And she has been here repeatedly because I've been to that court demanding other documents and other information from this repulsive human being, John Lomenzo. And every time I go there, he gets on the phone, he calls Monroe County Office of Mental Health. So I think that I'm the first person in the history of New York to get a visit from a sheriff's employee and a woman and an office dealing with mental health just for dropping off a Freedom of Information law document and being there for 30 seconds. This is a guy that your colleagues have to appear in front of, Kyle. How can you stomach this human being? Because if this has happened to me as an innocent man, then he's abridged the civil and constitutional rights of other innocent New Yorkers. So, Kyle, what is the name of the female prosecutor in my case that stood in Penfield Town Court and said not one word?